This town ain't big enough for the both of us.
Well, howdy there, friends. Sorry, that was completely the wrong impression. Yeah, I kind of forgot to show that cutscene at the end of the Western Station, so, yeah, I apologize for that, but now you get to see it here, in all its 90s FMV glory. But ARRRR, we have no time for that! We don't have time for you either, there, little pirate thing. Okay, that's enough of the Western impression. Jesus fuck. We are gonna be getting to one of the levels I kinda like a little bit less. This is the Buccaneer program. Not entirely a bad level in and of itself, there is a lot that I do like about it, but from a pure gameplay level, I gotta admit I find this a little bit lacking. Again, I do apologize, but that's just how I feel. And really, it's kind of for the same mentions that I brought up before in Tut TV, in a sense that while there is a lot that Gex 3 does to mitigate the sort of tedium you'll find by going through the same sorts of levels again and again, there does also come a point where if you don't really have a lot of material to sustain your gimmick, you might find yourself getting a little bit bored. And to me, the Buccaneer program is an example of this because, well, there's very few level pathways you can kind of access immediately to completely differentiate your experience on a, second mission. Because, and I don't know whether that's just by structure of the ship's design, since, you know, obviously we are on a pirate ship. But I mean, I don't know, I think they could have done a much better job of just making this level a little bit more dynamic. I mean, it does become that way a little bit more if you're willing to persist through this initial segment. It's just that on repeat playthroughs this becomes very tedious. You won't be seeing it, obviously, because the magic of editing. But I mean, if you are playing the game for yourself, do be warned that you will be going through this section again and again to complete the different missions. There is one perk to this, is that the first mission is kind of dealt with easily since, you know, by the end of this little stretch of gauntlet-style platforming, you can quite easily just get to the TV's exit and call it a day, and fuck the mission if you so choose. Although then again, that probably would require you to do some of the 100 flight coin missions to make up for that fact, but that's just more so if you're willing to plan ahead. In terms of what I think about the level itself, I don't think there's any real parody that's too distinct, because I mean, what real pirate movies were there at this point? Well, I mean, I'm sure there's probably been plenty, but I mean, stuff that in general pop culture knowledge that people would have been thinking about, at least by late 90s standards. Because I mean, Pirates of the Caribbean was still quite a few years away at this point. And Sinbad, I guess? I don't know. Regardless of such, I mean, while you do have a lot of platforming to do, it is kind of, mitigated a lot of its tedium by the fact that you do have ladders to get back up to where you need to go. Thankfully, because otherwise this level would be a pain in the ass if you happen to fall off, which, well, I don't want to say is too often an occurrence and might just be down to my playing skills, but then again, you never know. This is also a little bit of a corner thing right here, the Wall of Death. No, not in the heavy metal sense, where you're gonna run into a bunch of other metalheads, kick each other's asses, and, well, just generally have a fun time in the pit. No, it's a wall of spikes. Which is kinda metal. Sort of thing you'd see at a black metal show, hopefully. But no, you're just gonna dive under and wait for it to pass over you. And with that, our first mission objective will be complete. After a little bit of editing, because, well, screw this, because of 100 mission coins thing, shit. But yeah, even though you couldn't get a remote quite easily there, you gotta do that again and again for the other two missions. Not a very fun prospect, and good luck getting the 100 fly coin missions here, because this was aggravating to the most extreme degree. But again, as you can see out here, things are pretty atmospheric. I mean, you'll probably see as soon as we get to it, but I mean, just go outside the door and take a look at that bloody sunset. I don't know what it is about these arid skies or, the pirate ship aesthetic, it just looks cool. I mean, it kinda looks like a more atmospheric version of the, little pirate ship level you had in Sly 3. I don't know, I like it. It just, has a nice atmosphere about it. I kinda wish, I mean, again, I mentioned before that Gex isn't really a narratively driven series, but I don't know, I mean, if a Gex 4 were to happen, I would love to see some, interactions with, the pirate ships, or, Gex interacting with characters within these levels. I guess, maybe a more tongue-in-cheek version of Kingdom Hearts, really, where you travel to different television shows and parodies, interact with the characters within said parodies, and, you know, go on your merry way, make some jokes, and have a good time, really. I mean, to me, that's the sort of way I think a Gex in the modern day, honestly, could and well, I meant to say should, because, well, that's just my opinion, really. But I mean, it's a direction that I would like to see it go into. You know, really sort of keeping its, like, parodial elements, but at the same time, having a little bit more there than just Agent Extra and Gex trade sex puns, because they're funny. Again, part of the reason why the 100 Flycoin missions is a bit of a pain in the ass is not just because some of the enemies are a little bit tougher this time around, mainly the skeleton pirates that kind of block your attacks, but it is also mainly down to the fact that you kind of have to really be on the ball and searching around this Freddy Krueger-looking pirate ship. Seriously, look at the stripes. It's probably going to come to life and eat him. In fact, I'm kind of surprised that wasn't like a Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4 or 5 gimmick. Possibly 6. Whatever. I don't really like those two movies. 5 and 6, 4 and 5 specifically. Nightmare on Elm Street 6 I actually like because it's funny in all the wrong ways. But anyway, enough about Nightmare on Elm Street. Back to Nightmare on Gex Street. Actually, you know what? That's something I'm honestly kind of legitimately pissed about. Why didn't Gex ever do a Nightmare on Elm Street kind of thing? That would have been cool, man. Missed opportunities, I suppose. I guess maybe if they ever try the horror thing again, they could possibly go for that rather than generic haunted house. I don't know, a Nightmare on a Gex Street I think would be pretty cool. But anyway, like, I mean, in terms of just raw platforming, it's about as rudimentary as it comes, really. That being said, though, with a great view and some decent music, wouldn't really say it's much to go on besides generic, what do you do with a drunken sailor early in the morning? Well, the obvious answer is you put him in the bed with the captain's daughter. But, besides that, the music isn't too terrible, it's just kind of stock standard. It works for the parody, I guess, but, yeah. Would have preferred something a little bit more, adventurous, I guess. Then again, I guess it also kind of suits the very shanty sort of tone that Gex is going for. You know, the sort of thing where you crack open, like, bottles of whiskey and rum and go, "Crank up the Gilberts and Sullivans, dude!" I don't know. But again, you do have some enemies of annoyance, like the parrots that kind of swoop down. They are nothing compared to the pterodactyls in Gex 3D Enter the Gecko for the prehistoric levels, but yes, besides that though, you can't really do wrong. But alas, onwards to new adventures. And by that I mean the same adventure because we are still in this goddamn pirate ship. I think I'm getting scurvy! Scurvy is a very bad thing. Send them to a doctor if they haven't. But yeah, now this is also the, well, that's basically the mission objective you get for sinking pirate ships, which, well, again, very basic shooting gameplay, but I mean, besides that, you're at least treated to a nice view. Again, I think a lot of my problems with this level really stem from more so the tedium of having to get back up to this point, because once you're here, you know, like out on the deck and shooting pirates down, or just climbing around the pirate ship, it is pretty interesting. I just kind of wish I had a way to get there a little bit more instantaneously, rather than just going through the pirate ship again and again and again. But I suppose that's besides the point in this case. Now, you won't really be able to see it that well, but there is actually some really cool, like, well, I don't know, some really dangerous looking artistic beauty on display here. It is very dark, and maybe it is kind of YouTube's compression kind of putting it more in the background than it needs to be, but again, like, in terms of, like, whoever designed, like, the artwork for the backgrounds of these levels, I give my props to him, man. This stuff is legitimately fucking cool. And again, you wouldn't see this in any other platformer, which is why Gex honestly does earn its props, because, like, I mean, it kind of has this weird, like, equilibrium between, you know, very cartoonish and exaggerated, but at the same time having a nice balance of realism that makes it work. I don't know, it's kind of why I would be interested to see how a Gex 4 would be in the modern age, if it could, you know, balance those two sorts of art styles in a decent sort of manner. I mean, I do have this lingering fear in the back of my mind that it would just turn Gex into, you know, generic cartoon Happy the Squirrel and Nostalgia Land, like they have with a lot of other, like, modern renditions of some platforms, but who knows? That might just be my cynical side talking. The point is, so long as you get to blow people up in their boats and let them sink to their deaths, well, I'm satisfied. Then again, that might be the voices inside my head talking again like they were in the Army channel. But alas, we have no time for psychotic episodes. Instead, we must exit this TV and get yet another lovely quote from our lady, Agent Extra. Enjoy, dudes and dudettes.
Nice work, Pegleg.
Army wench, when this is over, we can play pirate, and Blackbeard the Gecko will be your nasty cabin boy.
Why don't you just defeat Rez before you start making vacation plans?
Arr. Well, alright, if you need me, I'll just be out there somewhere trying to save you.
Hey there, dudes. Are you ready for the most lamest, exaggerated boss fights in history? Yeah, enjoy the wrestling ring aesthetic, dudes. We are gonna fuck you up with the Rock Hard. I wonder who they're trying to parody. Well, I mean, then again, considering Dwayne The Rock Johnson's popularity these days, I guess it kind of is timely, like, in a complete serious sense. Yeah, tail whip him and, run away. Very easy boss fight, you'll deal with this no problem. If he does catch you, like, he will, like, bounce you around and do a little basketball thing. You know, like right there. But otherwise, the Rock Hard is a fucking joke. On that note, I am Solidus-Skully, keep it new metal. And next time, I dread what we're gonna be doing next time. Catch you later, dudes and dudettes, and I will see you later.
Hey, Spartacus. Where did you learn those moves? Ever been to a Turkish bathhouse?
Hey, that wasn't me, I swear! Besides, I'm about to try out some new holds on you, my precious pin doctor.
Easy there, Nacho Man, or I'll elbow drop you. Now get back to work.